Is China in big trouble, and will the Chinese dream never be filled? Hello and welcome to this Besidenews with me, the European. Yeah, I think you heard it in the news in the last days and weeks that two Chinese big companies are in trouble, and these are Evergrande and another a company which is building homes and houses. And yeah, the thing is that these companies have huge debts. So Evergrande, for example, have a debt of more than 375 million US dollar. So they are in a big crisis. And also the other company, they are also in a big crisis because they cannot pay also their debts. So this is a huge thing also for the world, because we know now that China is in trouble. So if you watch us a little bit longer, then you know that we have produced a video about the Chinese debt crisis. And there we said that, okay, there's no a huge crisis, but everything has changed after four weeks. So we can see now that China is in big trouble because their immobile sector, so their house and homes and apartment sector, they are in a crisis because no one can buy these apartments because they are too costly. So for example, in Beijing, so in the Chinese capital, the price for one apartment is only 2 million yuan. So how much is it in euro, or for example in United States dollar? It's 2 million. So you pay for one apartment, and mostly they are one room, and then you have bathroom and kitchen, and this is the apartment. And this apartment costs 2 million euros or 2 million US dollar. So it's too costly. No one can pay for this. No one has enough money to pay or to buy it. So, and this is the big question: if China will survive this, or will this sector collapse? And we know that 30% of the whole Chinese GDP are from the housing sector. So it's the biggest sector in the economy. And what everybody have said in the past, that exporting and so on is China's big thing. No, it's to build houses and to build apartments. So they pushed that sector, so the Chinese government, so the Communist Party, they had pushed this sector because for 10 years it was very profitable to build these houses, and then some people would buy it because there are people who buy that. But today we have the thing that in China are more than 100 million apartments for sale. So that 100 million people can buy this, but all Chinese have an apartment. So this means there are too much apartments than people. So and these 100 million, so like the whole German population can live in China when they want, because there are so much apartments. So it's very crazy to think about it, that there are cities without inhabitants. And this is the reality, that China has built too much for a struggling economy, and that we know it because of the Chinese demographic, that there will be in the future less people. So they have more apartments for lesser people. What's that? Yeah, it's a mismanagement. It's a real mismanagement. And the Chinese government is today blaming the West. So like the United States, this is their thing, that because of the United States, because they are existing, China's in trouble. But the thing is that the United States has never financed the Chinese housing market. So the thing is that only the Chinese government, like the Communist Party, is the bad boy in this game. So they have financed it, and they had mismanaged it, because at the point when you're building houses, then you also must think, okay, who can buy them? So when you build new cities, then you must also think, is it okay, and is it also financeable that there will live people in the future? Because we have now cities in China which are in the desert. No one will live there because it's a not nice environment. So there will be also no inhabitants in future in these cities. So there was no thinking about it that someone will live there in the future. So the party, so the Chinese government, is because of that in trouble. And there's a second thing, because you have the very, very high youth unemployment rate in China. So more than 20% of all young people under 30, they have no work, they have no job, so they cannot earn money. So this is the other big issue today, because when you have a very high youth unemployment rate, then this is a signal for a stagnation of the economy or for a recession. We saw that in Europe some years ago, in the Euro crisis, in Spain, in Italy, in France, and in Portuguese. So these countries have survived that, but will China survive that? Because we have there not a democratic government, we have that regime, a one-party system, or we can say a one-man system, because the Chinese president Xi Jinping is control everything from the army to all ministries. So he can change also ministry. So we saw that for some weeks that the Chinese foreign minister was disappearing, and then the old man has stepped in. So he is control everything, or he's the controller, we can think, like when we talk about games. So the thing is that when one person is controlling everything, then at one point the system will collapse, because we see it in history that so much strong men were there. But did these systems ever finished their plans, or are they thinking, and are they successful? No. Because we saw it also in Germany with Adolf Hitler. He was a strong man, he has a strong military, the economic was booming because they have financed it very well, but before the war, Germany had no money, so they started the war. And because of other things, you know, that the anti-Jews and other things, but in real, Germany was bankruptcy. And because of that, they start the war, because they have said and introduced the population that all others are bad, but we are the best. So we will win every war. And this is also a thing which is happening now in China. The day that the government and the children are learning in school, and also the people know this from propaganda, that China is the best country. So they are the winners, they are the best people. And all others are bad or not so good like them. But in reality, we see that it's not true, because China is struggling. And for example, the United States, they are performing better, not because of the government, because only that the companies can work free. In China, you can do it. So, for example, the best thing is Tencent. So this was the big tech company in China for some years. And then this year came some rules by the government that children cannot play games only for 1 hour a day, only 2 hours on a weekend. But the thing is that the gaming market was for this company a very, very big thing. And they earn very much money with that. And then they lose this market. So what's happening? The market value was not falling, it was disappearing. So this company is now 1/3 of the value before some laws. So the Chinese government has destroyed this company. And this is the successfully work of Xi Jinping. This is what he is doing. He's destroying the Chinese government, not the Chinese system, but he's destroying the Chinese economy in what he's doing. So only he can change everything to normal. But what we can see now is that he is working more brutal and not so much in the area that he's saying, okay, I will be friendly to the economists, and I will give some companies, also foreign companies, more space for work free. But we can't see this today, or we cannot see this, that he will doing this, because these other plans. But these plans will be discussed in another video. Thank you very much for tuning in. This was Beside News with me, the European.